Thank you.
Thanks.
Everyone's going to hear that. That's fine.
No, it's fine.
Ah. Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
It's conspiracy theory time.
Okay.
It is.
I'm ready.
So, we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about baseball again. So we talked last week about the Houston Astros sign stealing scandal.
We did.
And how last week it was just announced that both their general manager and their manager were suspended for a year, and then they were fired in the same press conference.
Correct.
There were also, we mentioned some fines and some draft picks that were given up, but the main story here is that people that were involved in the sign stealing scandal are being cut down.
Yes.
And it's just gotten crazier from there.
Yeah, guys, I don't know how this happened. I kind of thought like we were over this. This is a lot. This is a lot. What do you got?
Okay, so again, for those of you who don't remember, the Astros were found to, I guess, they had a camera mounted in center field, and the camera feed of pitchers and catchers exchanging signs as to what pitch was going to be thrown was relayed into the Astros either dugout or clubhouse, and they would relay the information of which pitch was coming to the batters by banging on a trash can in the dugout.
Right.
And there's video evidence of opposing pitchers and catchers coming off the mound and discussing that we need to change the signals. So, as I said, there were players that were implicated in the scandal. This is 2017.
Yes.
There were players implicated in the scandal from 2017 that have been let go. Literally, after we finished recording the show last week, Red Sox manager Alex Cora was fired for his part in the scandal. And then it was announced that Carlos Beltran, who was on the Astros in 2017, was fired from being manager of the Mets without even having managed a single game.
Right.
They both used the phrase. Both teams used the phrase "mutually parted ways," which is bullshit. We both know that they were fired because they were cheating.
Correct.
The Cora thing was, it kind of just, it went off. It happened. He was the bench coach at the time. We know that. The Beltran thing is a little interesting.
The Beltran thing makes me feel a lot of different things. But I mean, it's. I just think. Go ahead.
Okay, so delving into Twitter is not one of my favorite things to do.
Yes, it's a very strange hobby part of our job.
It's like digging a hole, except for the fact that you have to use one. You do one shovel thing, and then one pickaxe, and then a jackhammer, and it's like a puzzle that you have to unlock in order to get to the actual the meat of the story.
It's Tetris.
So it's Tetris.
Yes,
right.
But it's a laborious Tetris.
Correct. So here's the thing. Carlos Beltran was reported as hanging on by a thread after Alex Cora was fired. They were like, okay, Cora's gone, Beltran's next, right? There was a tweet that came out reportedly from a user named SoBlessed1, S0_blessed1. Now, this Twitter account is a private account, but the person running the account is claiming to be Carlos Beltran's niece.
Right.
Right? And the tweets say, and this, sparred more rumors that just made this thing even more amazing than it already is. The tweets say, if they'd load, the tweets say, I'm told to stay quiet, but I refuse. Sorry, Tio, uncle. Jose Altuve and Bregman wore devices that buzzed on the inside right shoulder from hallway video guy. Let's get it all out now. I have pictures from locker I will keep for rainy day. Altuve didn't want shirt torn off, but I remember maybe I misspoke. But Chapman gave up home run in game.
All of this sounds like some psycho villain situation.
This is wild!
No, wait, pull those tweets back up.
Okay, I got him.
And then I want you to read them in your best Russian accent.
Why?
Because that is what it sounds like. It sounds like a conspiracy theory and nothing more.
Okay, I hope it'll make you feel better, but okay, fine. I am told to stay quiet, but I refuse. Sorry, Tio. Jose Altuve and Bregman were devices that buzz on inside the right shoulder. This actually works because
it does. It's because she left out all the A's and the these and the. Keep going.
Jose Altuve and Bregman were devices that buzzed on inside the right shoulder from hallway video guy. Let's get it all out now. I have pictures from locker I will keep for rainy day. Altuve didn't want shirt torn off, if I remember. Maybe I misspoke. But Chapman gave up home run during game.
Oh my
Holy
god,
shit.
you guys, our producer's like on the floor right now. This is amazing. But right, because here's the thing. First of all, we have absolutely, it is weird that these tweets came from a locked account and that someone was able to get their hands on them who has made them into such a big deal. So that's kind of sketchy in and of itself. But also, we really have no way to prove whether or not this girl is actually Beltran's niece.
Yeah, but like, whoever this Twitter user is, niece or not, maybe they have a point. Because if you go back and you watch that video from this past season, not 2017, this past season, of the home run where Altuve, the walk-off home run, Altuve comes around home plate and he's like holding his jersey in. He's like, it's there. He's like, don't rip my jersey off. Don't rip my jersey off. Usually it's a thing where if a player hits a walk-off home run, the players surrounding home plate to greet him will try to rip his jersey off and all that stuff. It's just, guys being dudes. But it's very clear that he's like, no, don't rip my jersey off. And there's a picture of Jose Altuve at bat, and there's a little lump on the right-hand front side of his jersey, and it almost looks like there's a little device in there that could be, because the jersey's white and maybe the device is black, and so it looks like a little bit of discoloration there.
Look, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying that this Russian mobster woman is questionable as a source. That's where
everybody on Twitter is questionable as a source. Carlos Beltran literally made a burner account for himself to defend himself on Twitter when it was announced that he was next.
Right.
People were tweeting about, okay, Beltran's next, he's hanging by a thread, and he responds, Ivan B. This is at B15 Ivan. By the way, his last name is Beltran. His number is 15, and his middle name is Ivan, okay? Hanging by a thread, GM Brody has already made it clear that another organization's past issues having nothing to do with theirs. Media is making this out to be a bigger deal than it really is regarding Beltran. He will prove to be a great manager and succeed like always. Brody realizes this and will keep him because he's a great, brilliant baseball mind, one of a kind. Any organization would be lucky to have someone of his caliber occupying any position.
Okay, and I'm not going to make you read that like a cheerleader, but that's what it is. It's it's exactly the same thing. Obviously, this is very much, it is significantly more likely that this is a legitimate thing that Beltran made a burner account to do this, because we've seen this happen. I mean, we saw it happen on The Bachelor last week. We saw it happen with players do it all the time. It happens. We get it. But I don't know. I don't really know even what to make of these. It just kind of furthers this narrative that people who do that are people who cheat at things. What else happened?
Sorry, hold on. I was not prepared to continue. Where are we? Where's my Russian? I have so many damn tabs open.
Story of my life.
Okay, so Altuve claimed in an interview that he, quote, has never worn any kind of electronic device in my performance as a Major League Baseball player, end quote. And then later went on to say that the Astros, quote, would return to the World Series, which prompted players all over the league, and my favorite one was one from CC Sabathia, which basically implied LMAO metal detectors, where he quoted Altuve saying the Astros would go back to the World Series, and then had a picture of Altuve strolling up to step into the batter's box, but having to go through a metal detector in order to do so.
LMAO metal detectors.
Yes.
Dead. No, and of course, and this is the part that just boils my blood, is just, as a Yankee fan, what the implications of this whole situation are is infuriating to me. Good on CC Sabathia for calling that shit out. Love you, man. But, look, here's what we've got now. We've got all these weird, it's just a little, it's Twitter drama. And
yeah, but Twitter drama is the best, especially when it involves sports, because no one knows what the hell they're talking about.
Right, and we don't know what's real, and we don't know what's not real. I mean, I could get on Twitter right now and say that Tom Brady has retired, and bet you a handful of people would believe me.
What?
It hasn't happened.
What?
It hasn't happened yet.
But it's on Twitter.
Oh, well.
If it's on Twitter, it has to be true.
Of course.
Right?
I mean, naturally. And here's the thing, and then the MLB has investigated these claims. There's nothing there.
Yeah, but still, it looks like it.
I know it does.
It looks like it.
No, I get that.
What have they investigated?
I mean,
Would they go to the clubhouse and ask Altuve if he was wearing a buzzer? Obviously, he's going to say no.
well, this is where you get into a whole bunch of crazy shit with like IP addresses, and which honestly, I don't think anything that's happened this week on Twitter is worth any more like resources than the MLB has already put into this investigation. Now I'm mostly concerned about just the implications that situations like this have on Major League Baseball as this legacied sport. And I think what this scandal, which is very much like obviously existing largely because we have entered the digital age, is it has significantly marred the reputation of the last 5 to 10 years. And I think about like America's pastime and just the legacy of baseball as a whole. And I wonder if this scandal carries the same weight that, say, the steroid scandal carried, or if it is more, or what this ultimately is doing to the future of baseball.
Okay.
There's a lot there. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I think I understand. Okay, so in the Astros clubhouse, after any given game, there are tons of people from all different backgrounds in there.
Mm-hmm.
You have the players, you have the coaching staff, you have the upper management staff, you've got reporters, you've got all the way down to trainers, to chefs, to janitors, and all that stuff.
Sure.
Is it possible that this whole thing requires everybody in that situation to be totally complicit? You walk into that locker room and you're basically seeing players stripped down all the way down.
Right.
And is it possible that things are, there are electronic devices on these players that everybody is just kind of like looking the other way towards?
I mean, I think it could be.
It's
got to be a whole organization's in on it.
The fact that it went all the way up to the top shows me that the whole organization could be on it if this electronic buzzer thing happens to be true.
Sure.
But if this comes to light that the Astros were in fact using some kind of, buzzer to tip pitches and things like that, we are looking at something historic for Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be even bigger than the steroid scandal.
I think
we're definitely looking at lifetime bans. We're looking at huge fines. We're looking at, death penalties of sorts. We're looking at World Series titles being stripped, if that's the thing. I have to tell you that I would rather play against someone on steroids than play against someone who knew every pitch I was about to throw.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And I just think it's such a big thing to say. And I agree with you on the point that, again, this is a historic thing. And and we are still seeing, the steroid scandal, death, taxes, steroid users getting into the Hall of Fame. Like, those 3 things will never change because the steroid scandal is still affecting Major League Baseball in the way that we admit these players to the Hall of Fame. Like, it's still not happening. And I think this scandal, it tops it to such a degree that it really, the entire integrity of the whole sport, not just, obviously right now it is centered with a couple of teams, but the entire sport is at risk because we don't know where else this is happening.
Right.
It just so happens that the Astros won a few World Series titles, and so now we're investigating them. But but it could be, it could be anywhere. What about the guys who maybe it's just not working for them? Maybe they haven't mastered it as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. Maybe they're just not in position. The Astros have good enough talent to be able to get there. Maybe it's just, taking them to that other level. Exactly. For all we know, the Cincinnati Reds could be doing it, but the Reds are, in the bottom of the NL Central. Right?
Bingo.
I get it. This is enormous.
Yes.
I keep saying words because I don't know what I just said right now.
No, it's huge. And I love what you, like, I absolutely would rather play against a player on steroids than someone who could predict my every move too.
Because at least there's a little bit of challenge there, At least there's
they're just physical beasts.
Right. You can get the guy out. It's just that if you leave a pitch in the wrong spot, they're going to clobber it over the fence.
Exactly. I'm very concerned about the future of the sport of baseball as far as this scandal is concerned, and Twitter sucks. And that's that.
Social media sucks. We talked about this last week. Major League Baseball was basically putting a gag order on teams not to say anything. We still don't know why.
Oh yeah, that still is kind of a looming thing too. And that also, in fact, begs the question of exactly how far up this is going. Because it can go up through an organization, or like an individual organization. But what if it goes higher? What if we're talking like something in the league?
Well, I mean, if we were talking something in the league, then the Astros probably wouldn't have been fined or had their their coaches.
Everyone likes to point fingers, though.
Okay, but Manfred was the one who brought the punishment down. Rob Manfred, the commissioner.
Of course. Oh, well, maybe not the commissioner, but I don't know. I think this is very sketchy, and I'm excited to kind of see how it unravels and have the opportunity to. I mean, now that football is kind of coming to a close, really unpack this. Isn't it crazy that we're talking about this the week before the Super Bowl? Like, I don't know.
Well, we still have Super Bowl things to cover. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll do some delving into the Super Bowl because I have some things I'd like to say.
Yeah, I can see your thoughts like screaming out of your ears.
Yeah. If you have any thoughts on this, or if you have anything that you want us to talk about that we haven't already with the Astros, send us an email, andrewincata@gmail.com, or slide into our DMs on social media. We are at UFR Vodcast. We love hearing what you guys have to say, and we're always open to new ideas to talk about.
Yeah.
So hit us up, and with that, we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
So stick tight. We'll be back in a second. And what you guys have to say.